Welcome, Abnormal Investigations. I've got another encounter for you. I hope you all enjoy this one as much as I enjoy sharing them with you and reading them to you. This one comes from Oregon, I believe, and is a pretty good encounter. Excuse me. The first encounter was had on one of my solo hikes through the campgrounds, which took me off trail in the hunt for an abandoned part of the camp, a chapel that was rumored to have been abandoned years prior. I had discovered a decrepit trail that was overgrown and looked more like a deer trail than anything else. But after maybe 20 to 30 feet, I found what looked like the rumored chapel, which was only a few worn benches, some trash, and crumbling fire bowl. As any foolish young scout, I ran into the chapel meaning to find out what happened there, and to feel like I was being watched. In vain I looked around on the grounds around me and saw nothing but the overgrown chapel. But even with this I felt uneasy and began to leave, in case it was the counselor that I couldn't see. But as I rushed out I looked up to the trees for a final glance, and there above me was a large dark figure, one that looked to be about the size of a full-grown man, leaping through the trees without making anything more than a rustle that sounded like the wind. Upon seeing this, I rushed back to the main trail and found some of my fellow scouts, hoping that they could confirm what I had seen. I met up with my friend, who we'll call Friend A for now, who wanted to come along to see the chapel, and did not believe that I had seen anything. We hiked into the chapel to find that one of the benches was newly broken, and there being no signs of whatever I had done to it, not even the cryptid from before. Satisfied that all was well, we went to regroup with the boys of our troop, so that we could go back to camp to get ready for lunch. The walk there was uneventful, and we got ready in time. But before we could leave, we had to grab one of my troop mates, who was for a merit badge, constructing a survival shack behind the camp. This was all fine until we heard something following us. We thought it was just a deer until it started charging through the brush toward our camp, and we realized that it was on two legs and not four. Everyone in the group collectively ran back to warn the rest of the scouts there, who at first thought we were pulling a prank on them. At least until another scout, Friend B, came rushing back saying someone was walking around by his tent. Someone who he thought was us until he saw all of the boys of our troop were gathered in the campfire already. This sent shock through the scouts, causing many of them to arm themselves with sticks, pocket knives, and rocks to defend against whatever it was in our campsite. We all stood there in fear of what it could be, some thinking it was a bear, others thought it was a man, at least until we all looked up and saw it standing on top of a half-dead tree, leering down at us. This creature was, as I had said, about the size of a grown man. It was covered in brown fur that looked to be short like a deer or a short-haired dog, and on its head was what looked like the skull of a deer loosely placed almost like a helmet. Its arms were long and skinny. Its legs were almost impossible to see, but it stood like it was going to come after us, like it felt no fear at the herd of the young boys that were before it. It didn't move for what felt like an eternity. We began to think we were seeing things until an adult came to camp, and upon hearing of this creature, it leaped off of its perch and sprung into the woods behind, with a grace that sent shivers down my spine. None of us ever saw that thing again, and no one was to go anywhere without two friends and their knife, a rule that we still loosely hold to this day. I don't know what we all saw that day, but I heard a lot of stories, both from my family, who were versed at Native American culture, and I tell you, what we saw looked like a skinny man wearing a deer skull with light brown fur all over it. I don't know if Bigfoot children wear these things, if it's a disguise, a mask, a hunting party. Why would it be wearing a deer's skull? Was it to hide its face so we couldn't see exactly what it looked like? To camouflage itself? I guess we'll never know because we never seen it again. You know, that's a really good question because sometimes I've heard people say, they've been driving, like, say, down the road and they see a deer or they see, another animal, a dog. But they'll say, it just wasn't looking at me right. Something about it was off. Do you think these things maybe kill creatures in the woods and use their fur, skin them and use, their heads and stuff to imitate other creatures to be able to pass by us, to spy on us? A lot of the mountain men back in the day, they would skin bear and they would put the whole bear suit on. And sometimes they were accidentally shot because some people thought they were actual bears because they were wearing the full bear skin. Do you think these creatures saw Native Americans doing this? And they've copied it, or maybe the Native Americans copied it from them? I'm not sure. How do you all think it happened, and do you believe they done this? I'd be real interested to hear what you all think about this. And thank you for listening, guys. And thank you for watching the Boots on the Ground tonight. And until next time, guys, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. And remember, if it ain't looking at you right and it don't feel right, it's probably not right. Thank you for listening.